Hey, and welcome to the Weed Out, where we weed out the nonsense and talk about the bullshit happening in a backyard. I'm Spencer Fox Peterson with my co-host.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joanna May Booty.
Good to see you again, Joanna, on this rainy August afternoon.
I don't love the rainy summer, but
Oh, good. Just plugging along. Thank you for asking. Anyway,
we're so polite.
well, for the listeners at home, Joanna and I normally are pretty chatty on the text machine and the phones when we're not live on air or recording. Today,
And we're not so formal.
Today, yeah, not at all. But we haven't really discussed our day to day, and that's rare at 5:45 in the evening to have not really discussed our day. So you're getting a rare time. Joanna and I are coming in cold. We have not warmed up.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before recording. Summer's a little slower, so the listeners are hearing more from you and I. And when I say slower, I mean we don't have as many people coming on because there's so much going on during summer. People may be away or children may be home, and a lot of people are busy. So I think we'll have a lot more maybe people coming on with us down the pike. But there's a lot of big news, so we're excited to be here.
There's never a slowdown in the news front, especially when it comes to workplace issues, workplace unionizing in this modern era, and police brutality. But before we get into our show today, I do want to just thank everybody listening who have been listening. We see you. We know you're there. We appreciate y'all, and we couldn't do it without our little community. So as always, open invite. Shoot us DMs, emails with anything you'd like to possibly see or hear on the show, or if we've heard about. This has been a very organic event, building the Weed Out. So thank you to everybody that's been telling their friends, sharing it online, word of mouth. It's greatly appreciated, and we're just passing the year mark, and we're a lot further along than we thought we would be. And at the end of the day, we don't really care about that stuff. We care about fixing our society so we have, warmth, safety, housing, food, healthcare for everyone, regardless of any means testing. Like, we don't do that here. So we appreciate everybody sharing the stories, because it's really about sharing the stories of the workers organizing, the people standing up to the police state, the holding politicians accountable. This is how we have to do it. Joanna and I just happen to have microphones, so we're doing it this way. However you choose to do it at home, that's fine. One way you can do it is just tell your friends about alternative local media, whether it's us, whether it's the Shoestring, whether it's Andrew Cremier and the Mass Transparency with Jeff Raymond. They just started a podcast. So previous guests of ours, Andrew and Jeff, shout out to you guys. Congratulations on your inaugural podcast. I am drawing a fucking blank at the moment.
It's lights out mass, and I'm so excited. Everyone should listen. Everyone should listen on government transparency.
Lights Out Mass. I believe I saw it hosted on Substack, and so you can find Andrew definitely on Substack. He's pretty prolific over there, so shout out to him, and give us a follow on the Substacks. And as always, you can find all our social medias and all that stuff in the traditional ways. You can go to our link tree in one of our bios. You can just go to www.theweedout.com. And with all that housekeeping and pleasantries out of the way, are you ready to get into today's stories, Joanna?
Yeah, we have some good news first, right?
Quick hits. There's a new union announcing its formation. They're in the early stages, kind of akin to when we met the Barnes & Noble Hadley representatives.
Oh, they're so fantastic. I hope more union reps come on. Please come on.
So if you know anybody that's looking, get the word out, because we gotta combat this against Mass Live, Boston.com or the Globe. We have to push back on this. So we just wanted to give a shout out to the Michael's Craft Store in Hadley, right next door to Barnes & Noble in Hadley. They have announced their intention to form a union. They have a social media page. You can go to our page and probably find them on our list, or you can look them up. It's the Michael's in Hadley craft store. So congratulations to them for taking that stand, and it's a big step.
Yeah, solidarity. I hope they can push on and keep going.
And the other piece of bad but good news, workers in
We're
Northampton.
taking a dive now.
No. So in the Starbucks
Okay.
in Northampton on King Street, the Starbucks on King Street, they stood out and protested about the corporate union busting.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the workers. And it may not seem like much, but it is if people don't know. Like, I think it's huge just because it's taking time out of their day. And they're maybe raising awareness because I know a lot of us are so busy that's why a lot of people like to listen and tune into us. And I know you didn't mean that you don't think it's a big deal, Spence, but I just want to clarify that we think it's huge because I just think people like to tune into us to hear the news read to them because of how busy it is to just get through the day. And so I just want to make sure that everyone knows we both think it's incredibly awesome whenever anyone exercises their First Amendment right and stands up to any big bully.
Absolutely. And Starbucks is one of the biggest bullies on the planet. And damn, they make a good fucking blended frappuccino, but they're fucking devils, dude. They're the devil. They're like, it's bad.
I know, but they're workers in Hadley, especially too. The workers in Hadley where we sometimes meet. If anyone ever wants to try to, no, I'm just kidding. But like, I think when we do work there, the workers they're great. They're so wonderful that it's almost like that's who you have to think of. And you're so right, Spencer. Like, support the workers, support the union because those people are the salt of the earth. Sometimes the drinks they make me, goodness.
Yeah, the work is done by the workers and they make it all happen. End of story.
And they're just so sweet, like the customer service and everything, even when they're dealing with wage issues, all this other stuff. I mean, they don't have to be as sweet as they are, y'all. So give all of them, all of the service workers and people working for these bullies and things that you don't think of when you walk into those establishments. They don't really owe you this like awesome customer service. So when you're getting those experiences, it's like an extra. But personally, I am in solidarity with all workers, like you said, Spencer. And I'm so thrilled for Michael's, and these stories are all just super uplifting.
For your local labor movements, as I'm sure you do if you're listening to us, but and we're not just about hating the police. But guess who breaks up strikes? That's right, police, who are also tied to chattel slavery. So everything goes back to that and the original sin of the United States and colonialism in general. It's a bummer, but what are you going to do? So we're going to fight against it. That's what we're going to do. So all that's some good news for you, relatively speaking, in this fascist capitalist.
It's as good as it gets here, usually,
And we still have our First Amendment, so we're going to keep fucking talking about it. Like, that leads us into today's unfortunate story. So there is a content warning. This is about police brutality.
Absolutely.
So this is a violent story, and it involves a citizen of my hometown, Holyoke, Massachusetts, where I currently live, not my hometown, sorry. The place I have full-time established. I won't claim I'm from Holyoke. I'm Quincy. You can't take the Quincy out of me. So a citizen from Holyoke was elderly. She was in her 60s, and I believe she was working. Was brutalized by the Northampton police. So we have a story from the Shoestring, who did some good investigative journalism. Our buddy Dusty Christensen, as always, with the scoop. Well detailed, well executed investigative journalism done through public records requests and asking the right questions to the right people. So shout out to Dusty, as always, in the Shoestring. Go, if you don't have money to donate to whatever, at least maybe go kick Shoestring and independent journalists some money, or anybody that we've listed. So thank you very much to the Shoestring for doing this digging. There's more digging to do. This is not over. And this will lead to organizing around police abolition in Northampton.
So yes, there will be a standout this Sunday in Northampton, and I think it's through our friends in the Workers' Party of Western Mass.
So you can go to the Workers' Party of Western Mass Instagram page, and I believe they're on Facebook as well, to get more information. I'm sure they seem like they have a hand in organizing it. It doesn't say on the flyer who's organizing it, so I'm guessing it's a coalition of folk. But at the very least, we will whatever comes up, and you follow us, We will update you with any details, as it is kind of a quick turnaround this Sunday that we're recording this on Wednesday, the 10th of August, 2023. We are still talking about police brutality, even in a liberal, progressive, quote unquote, progressive city of Northampton. It's not fucking progressive. I'm sorry. It's controlled by the landlords. Eric Sewer, I'm looking at you. And amongst others, who he really just takes the heat for the other assholes. But this all goes back. Police protect the fucking Capitol, and they need to enforce their authority every chance they get. And this story, which Joanna is gonna break down the first part, and then we're gonna discuss the rest of it. This story is brutal. It didn't end in death, thankfully, but this person was harmed, and they're going to be living with those harms even after their bones and bruises heal. They're never going to feel safe in a car again. So that's just what I want to keep everybody's frame of mind in. And when you talk about this story, this is what police do to maintain their authority. They do stuff like this. And then when they aren't held accountable, it emboldens them to do far worse things. And at the end of the day, it's all to protect property, and this all benefits the few rich people where you live. That's why we weed out the bullshit here. So Joanna, please, let's dig into it.
Of course. And remember, everyone, content warning at this point. If you don't want to hear about police using force against a civilian, please tune out. So in Northampton, it was apparently close to midnight on April 4th. You mentioned a Holyoke resident. Her name is Marisol Driouech. I am not sure if I am saying that correctly. It's Driouech. They were in a McDonald's parking lot. They're 60 years old. They're picking up their delivery through an online ordering platform. So they probably did like DoorDash or, an app, and like we're picking up some food. Awesome. They go to turn out and right out of the parking lot in McDonald's on King Street, for those of you familiar with the area. And they got pulled over because some police officer noticed their headlight was out. So the shoestring article says less than 5 minutes later, the officer was wrestling Marisol to the pavement, and Marisol screamed, "Someone help me." As the officer, John Selu, Selleu, pinned her down in the middle of the road and tried to handcuff her. He screamed, "Give me your fucking arm." And a second officer arrived and pepper sprayed her in the face before the two got her handcuffed and inside of a cruiser. So there was a struggle. Clearly she was being handled very violently, in my opinion, by two men. And only after all of this happened did a Spanish speaking officer arrive to speak with Marisol, whose first language is not English. So a number of issues just right out the gate here. And the reporter, Dusty Christensen, is able to have all this information for a number of reasons, because the dash cam system recorded the arrest. I don't actually urge people to go watch the video if they don't need to at this point, but there is a video attached to the shoestring article, and we will share that.
First of all, on the video, I want to share a point of view that Joanna and I have, a unique point of view. Our social media experience is far different than those listening at home. Likely, you guys are looking at friends and family, and normal things, right? People taking pictures of sunsets, and that's. Well, I was just more talking about our official accounts, and I don't have any private account or personal account.
I know. I'm sorry. Yours is far more dark.
And that's part of the work.
I know.
Another fucking one more video. I don't need to see it.
I can't either, honey. I agree.
I want to let everybody know that the red flag in a conversation with somebody, and you need to stop them right where they are, is that people need to see the video. It's snuff porn to me. It's reinforcing white supremacy culture about violence on black and brown bodies. It's disgusting. I don't need to see more of it. This is why I'm against body cams, dash cams. I just want to get rid of the fucking police. All right, because they use these things as weapons. They will get false confessions out of you on their body cam. They will, like, all this shit goes sideways, and every once in a while we get a video of them doing something horrendous. If this got these, they just lobbied for this dash cam, and they just got it. This is like state of the art shit. They know they have this, and they don't fucking care. They think they have that ability, and they do. They frankly do have that ability. So if anybody's saying, what I'm really just trying to get at, everybody listening at home, my soapbox on this is cameras aren't the solution. It just turns into snuff porn for the racists who fucking love this shit, other cops. And then they can like Derek Chauvin, they can make an example of you and say, we're cleaning up policing. Meanwhile, this is happening over and over and over and over and over again, with or without cameras present. And like Joanna highlighted, this person's 5 feet, 120 pounds. These are two grown ass men, like grown ass people. Like they're
I mean, she is too, but yes, 5 feet is very. I am, as a person who is 5'3", two adult grown men are usually much larger than me, so that's kind of why I framed it that way, because it's like I would be very nervous of two, like, men are usually like 5'8" to 5'3" to 6 feet tall. Like, cops are armed. That is scary when you're a petite person, or any person.
I want to clarify that yes, the size is very important, but my thing is they shouldn't be putting hands on anybody.
On anyone.
The size is like a multiplier of like fucked up, but like to me, it's like this should never happen. Period. You shouldn't be experiencing this just because you have a headlight out. Like none of this requires a badge and a gun.
Right.
And we've seen this take online a lot about like just put cameras everywhere. I don't want to live in a surveillance state, so like I'm against that personally. But at least just instead of making it a fine system, if that's gonna be the case, hey, at this intersection we saw your headlights out, we caught your plate. Here's your gentle reminder to fucking fix your light. Because most people don't even know that shit is out, or they can't afford it. But like, how many times does the light go out while you're driving? Or it worked on the way to your destination and now it's not working and you got to get home. It's 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Where's you going to go? A fucking AutoZone at midnight? Like, what the fuck?
No, I agree. I mean, in this case, it does seem like the dash cam stuff is helpful for her, and Marisol did allow the shoestring. Clearly, they spoke because it says like Marisol through her lawyer. So the lawyer's obviously going to do discovery, find what they can. This obviously, as a lawyer, you might want to see this. It really depends, I guess. But they consented to the shoestring publishing it. So the shoestring saying like this just offers a glimpse of how a police traffic stop can quickly turn violent. And I guess for us, for Spencer and I, yes, it's far too much. I don't need to watch it. But for those of you who think this isn't the norm, please look, because it's happening in your precious Northampton to a 60-year-old woman picking up McDonald's with her lights out. The city is now facing a lawsuit. So Marisol, thankfully, is going to be represented by local attorney Dana Goldblatt. Is that correct, Spencer, the last name?
It is. I actually know Dana.
I know. That's why I asked. And I just wanted to make sure not to butcher their name.
She's a very reputable, great attorney. Very, very committed to fucking justice. So thank you, Dana, for doing your duty and helping this person out. And give them fucking hell. I don't know.
Yeah. So Dana's quoted as saying whether there is a lawsuit ultimately depends on how the city responds to the presentment, said Goldblatt, who is already suing the city on behalf of another person Northampton pepper sprayed in 2017, Eric Matlock. So again, at Matlock, excuse me. So if anyone wants to find that story, please, I'll share that when Spence and I will share that with this episode's notes. Marisol has been charged by the Northampton police with assault and battery on a police officer, attempting to disarm a police officer, resisting arrest, and refusing to identify herself, in addition to the lights violation, according to court documents. in the like police report, John Selou alleged she tried to roll up her window and park her car and drive during the traffic stop, then resisted arrest when he ordered her to step out and then he grabbed his baton and he tried to take her down. I just feel like even that, I'm sorry. I think knowing that the Northampton area just had, like 2 years ago, started the Department of Community Care. It's so shocking and upsetting that they are stopping people for things like this and then pepper spraying them if they drive away. Um, of course, Holyoke being so close by and just the country in general, like language could be the issue. And of course, people are afraid of cops. So this story is really, really sad. The DA's office, the West Northwestern DA, who we all know, please listen back to
DA
what ep
Sullivan in the house. He's
yeah,
the
like
one that
what episode do we cover with Andrew, how that can really shed light if people haven't.
so it was episode 38.
So please listen in if you wanna hear more about this DA, but,
Andrew, our intrepid investigative journalist friend, public records extraordinaire, Andrew Cormier, who we announced earlier, started his own podcast with Jeff Raymond, or at least I'm sorry, I shouldn't be talking out of school, but I hope that's right. Anyways, he's the one who's suing DA Sullivan. So DA Sullivan is in our lives with this unfortunate case with Marisol. So
and thankfully, the DA made the decision to, like, drop all of the charges.
yeah,
Um,
because think about how much money just like that would cost just to go through the next step of the process, and like this cop gets a paid day to go sit and give his deposition, even though he's the fuck up and he's not going to be in any trouble. Really, I mean, he's not. Like, let's just be. I hope they do something, but
I do too.
they won't.
I know.
They
I
never.
know, and Chief Casper did like an internal review and found the use of force was acceptable under department policy. Casper told the shoestring that after a community member complained about the incident, the NPD hired comprehensive investigations and consulting. It's run by prosecutors and police officials, so it's like LOL, they're investigating each other. They also found no wrongdoing. Gasps, shocked. So I feel that I really hope, and as we go through this story, Spencer and I will share afterwards. Like, we did reach out to the Northampton City Council, Chief Casper, and the mayor, so we have some of our own information to share. But I think it's really important just to be aware that there's a video of them. So I mean, and I don't want to live in a surveillance state either, but there are so many places where if she was in the parking lot of McDonald's, her lawyer may have been able to get coverage or footage from, one of the cameras there even. And this is such an egregious use of force, in my opinion, on an elderly woman or elderly person in general or anyone for such a stupid, stupid thing. In my opinion, if the police are so concerned with our safety and helping us, they could give us a warning. They could do anything. It's a one light out in the back of our car. We pay their goddamn paychecks. We make sure they have pensions that we pay for with our taxes, and then they're hurting our neighbors because the lights out on their car when they're picking up their dinner late at night. I think this should alarm all of us. It makes me afraid to be pulled over in Northampton late at night, or I don't know. I just want people to know that you can't just assume a place is a progressive, nice town and think the cops are all great too. This
It's a
woman didn't speak.
gang.
Yeah, like this woman didn't speak English. She responds, "I don't understand," when the officer is talking to her. It says here at the in the shoestring article, and there's a lot more. People should take a look at the article. I'm really paraphrasing. Um I think this was like a language barrier issue, and then of course police don't ever de-escalate something. It got to the point where someone comes and helps him, and the help is macing this woman in the face.
So the policing is like an extension or like a natural progression of basically professionalizing patriarchy. That's the way I see it. And there's a reason that in Boston, for example, they just celebrated that by year 2030, we're going to have 30% women on the force. Like, that's bonkers. I'm not saying we should hire girl cops, women cops, or women presenting cops that will fix our problems. Not at all. I like, actually, again, I'm an abolitionist, but it's like every other industry has kind of even like there's been progression literally everywhere else. And these men think they can put their fucking hands on anybody. And they have the end all be all authority. These are the types of men they hire. I grew up in this culture. Anybody listen? I grew up white, Irish, Catholic in Boston. All right. I understand these fucking goobers. All right. And I call them goobers because they shouldn't be taken seriously, but they have fucking serious powers. And like in any other world, in any other context or circumstance, you'd fucking laugh at these guys. They're losers. And I hope Chief Casper is listening. You're gonna take the fall for fucking losers. You know, like that's the thing. It's like they won't fucking care if a feminine presenting chief gets axed. They won't fucking protect you. It's a patriarchal system, and that's why they like they can. They don't understand. This is a 60-year-old person, and they're working at midnight, and their first thought is, and these dudes, these motherfuckers retire at 40 fucking 50 years old. Like, fuck these guys, honestly. My least favorite cop in Holyoke, Captain Moriarty, fucking head of communications, Gobot Goebbels, that fucking ghoul is fucking retiring. And thank God, good riddance, get the fuck out of here. But this motherfucker is like not even 50. I'm going to be working until I'm fucking 80. How is that fucking fair?
It's not, but that's why nothing will most likely happen, because Chief Casper,
That's why they can put their hands on a working person.
because their unions and associations make decisions with the municipalities that allow this. We can't keep allowing our cities to let their associations strong arm us. That's why that happened. It's fucked.
It's absolutely fucked. And I mean, this is why we're doing the show. That's why we talk about this stuff. And it's in our backyard. We can do something about it, though. I want everybody not to feel down and out. It is happening here. It does happen here. And death shouldn't be the floor. Like, a murder should not be the bar they can't cross, because they get away with that too. But like, none of this is okay. Putting their hands on a citizen, a working person who's paying fucking taxes. And I hate that shit. So all my property owner former friends in Northampton, if you listen, like, your fucking taxes are paying for this bullshit. You guys care so much about your goddamn taxes. Fucking put it in the schools. And another thing, this is a Holyoke Northampton issue, and this is English as a second language. Clearly somebody with not mayonnaise skin tone. And Northampton, like 2016, this police department boasted that they were arresting or charging people mostly from out of town, like 60-something%, right, Joanna? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So like, think about
what percentage?
it was like 66% or something, or 63% of their arrests and stops and all their interactions were with quote unquote out of towners. That's a fucking sundown town logic. Like, how is
No,
that?
I mean, it is. Well, 80,
they like patted themselves. It was in the Advocate when the Advocate
well, and like 82% of Northampton is white.
right. And it's not a progressive place. It's not. Y'all just fucking put Black Lives Matter signs on your street, and you fucking half fund the Department of Community Care so it can't ever get off the ground. This is a situation where Department of Community Care could have been fucking involved. Maybe they had somebody that speaks Spanish.
Well, it says the department does. That's why I don't understand. Like, she was working, this woman, so she just wanted to, like, if you're working and maybe she was picking up the food to deliver for someone else, she was probably like hoping to get there quickly and not like lose the job. So like, I know if she didn't understand them, like, that's an issue, but like, I don't know. I just don't get it. It's such like a stupid fucking thing to hurt someone over. I feel horrible for this woman. And it's so shady. There's a point in the video where the audio goes out too. And like apparently that's okay based on the policy. Casper said to look because that's in line with their recording policies. So I don't know. I think we just need to remember, like Spence said, like Northampton seems progressive, but the NPD, Northampton PD, has a reputation and like they for disproportionately, and then this is a quote from the shoestring, from Goldblatt, the lawyer of this case, just saying like they have a reputation for disproportionately stopping Black and brown people, and has a reputation for being disproportionately rough with them. So I mean, that's alarming. And in addition to the lawsuit that Matlock is currently bringing against Northampton, this includes Marisol and also an Amherst man sued the city and 5 police officers last September. That man's lawyer has alleged that the officers tackled him into the ground, kicked him, beat him with a baton, pepper sprayed, and arrested him during a mental health episode in 2019. So again, we would hope that the Department of Community Care could be utilized more and that something could be done with these officers. And that's kind of like, in a nutshell, I would urge people to go and read this on their own. There's more information too.
I wanted to just also like just for a little like pirate life, like, hey, at least there's some funny shit in here. That she fired off a line at him, and I kind of like it. Basically, she said, "I'm working. Okay, I'm working, cabron." She yelled at the officer, and first of all, that's fucking amazing. Like calling a cop a cabron, like fuck yeah, good for you. You're
Oh, hell yeah.
you're gonna get a beating for it, but at least you got a good lick in. But remember, everybody at home, not lawyers here, but the good advice is never talk to cops ever. Don't do, even if that's a funny ass line, and I'm glad she got it off. But you know, there's no need to talk to these fuckers, even if they're beating you. He responded to that, "I don't give a fuck."
Yeah.
So she basically got jacked for her bag because she was on the job, and then she got beat up and put in a cage. And you don't think there's a trickle down effect? If you're a 60-year-old person driving around at night doing DoorDash, like I find it hard to believe you're making ends meet easily. Like, and that's not a fault. That's a fault on our society, not a fault on this person. And
Right.
to me, for a cop to say, "I don't give a fuck," dude,
Like, we don't give a fuck about your job. So, like,
I get to
give
go
me your,
home
like,
tonight, you fucking
ugh, you
douchebag.
it's literal asshole. I just can't.
And you're gonna milk overtime, and they joke about this shit.
Well,
LAPD, where there's just an expose where they all got busted on their cameras joking about milking overtime on murders. That's fucking insane. It's a game to them. This is
yeah, and
reality.
if we just keep it even to this article is sick. I'm sorry. To harm an elderly woman who just needed help, like she just needed to be told to fix her light. And now she's facing, and what she dealt with is just so upsetting. And like you said, she may end up having,
Well, she's
physical
never gonna,
or mental issues
at the very
after
least,
that.
everybody has that pit in their stomach when those blue lights go up. Their
Oh, absolutely.
fucking spidey senses are like, these motherfuckers. Even all you lily white people that think, oh, if I'm just
Yeah, no, everyone does it, dude. No
everybody
one's
has
like, yay.
the rock. So imagine you've been beaten by these. Now you associate blue lights. That's why I think we need to, if you're talking about community care or law enforcement of whatever kind, whether it's like making sure people aren't dumping nuclear waste. I mean, we can't even call them police. Like, that's a traumatized.
No, and well, they don't call them that in the Department of Community Care system. I didn't
No, I
think.
know, but like, so what will we do without police or law enforcement?
Oh, yeah,
At the
we'll be
very
fine.
least, whatever the next iteration is, first of all these fuckers can't be here anymore. Not one of them. Because it's all nepotism, it's all good old boys circuit.
Well, and for me, it's more like if so people think we like it's really the systems. We just want those gone, and it would include all these people involved. So bye bye.
And we won't need them. We won't
We don't
fucking
need them.
if you
They're
don't
not helping. They're not helping.
we have food, which we have plenty of food. I'm in the food service. There's plenty of food, and there's plenty of food fucking waste. And there's a lot of profit being made. A lot of profit. And we can feed people. That's not a problem. We can house people and still have extra stuff to go around. So like it's a lie if you think people need to pull their weight. Like not everybody can pull the same weight. Like what are we talking about?
Well, and this woman was out there working. So like instead of like as like we've continually said about this particular incident, like the cop could have been just like, "Hey, like I'm gonna let you go." So the fact that she couldn't understand him, this seems like a very targeted, racially charged attack on working class people. And I mean, you and I have a hard time sitting with things like that. So we did reach out to the mayor of Northampton, the city council, and Chief Casper, letting them know that we will be doing this episode for all of you and asking if they have any comments. So I don't know if you want to like kind of paraphrase our comments that we got back, Spence, but I'd
Yeah,
love to let the listeners know like who we heard from and stuff. And it's only been a few days, so we haven't heard back from everyone, but we did receive some response.
yeah. So to be fair to all the people we reached out to, Joanna mentioned we reached out to all the counselors, the mayor, and the chief of police, Chief Jody Casper. And um, I think the context is really important. So I want to share with everybody. We saw this story. We knew we were doing this episode. We knew we were going to highlight the shoestrings work. And our first thought was, well, let's tell these people that we're going to do an episode on this. We would like a statement if you can provide one. So keep in mind, counselors are part timers. Like they have job. Most of these people have other things going on. They're not checking. I'm sure they're not doing their counsel work every day. So we did not get response from everybody, but granted, it's been in the middle of the week and it's only been 2 days. So we got responses from the chief of police that morning. We sent that email off like 10 o'clock at night, Joanna, and we got the response first thing in the morning, 9:30, 10 o'clock. So as soon as Chief Casper started her workday, she responded.
Chief Casper is very prompt if they can be and are able to be. We talked about this off the recording. They do typically give us information. So if you want to paraphrase, they did supply us with a good amount of information. And there's, I think we're lacking the police report, which I would still like to get.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about this again because this is an ongoing story. There's gonna be a lawsuit. We're gonna follow this. Like I said, this is in our backyard. This is a weed that needs to be dealt with, and that's why we reached out to these people, get them on the record. We want you listeners who may be able to help, may be able to stand out, possibly this Sunday, August 13th at 10 a.m. Or say you heard the story on the weed out, you read the story on the shoestring, email them. I know it's not the silver bullet, but not it's a bunch of we got to do a bunch of paper cuts, and we can do this in our backyard. This isn't
Oh
changing.
yeah, and I'll attach like a script for the email that people, if they'd like to send the mayor and the council, and a quick email. I'll put together a little easy template for everyone. Because even just letting them know, if you're from not even from Northampton, that you think this is unacceptable. It's powerful. You don't have to do, if you can't make the stand up, shoot an email off. That's great.
And so we'll as always on our Substack and on the weedout.com when we release the episode, all this information will be there. That's why we do it this way, because we know sometimes some episodes where lots of ideas get kicked around, lots of calls to action. So please go to the website, check all our resources, www.theweedout.com, or follow us on social media. Hit us up on email, theweedout@gmail.com. And I just want, before we get into what we got back from the chief and from one counselor, Rachel Mayore, I believe. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Joanna and I have had talks with Rachel in the past. It's always been very cordial. We've also sat down and spoke with Chief Casper in the past. Also cordial, but I'm not very kind. So, and I don't really give a fuck. And Joanna's a lot better of a negotiator and talker than me. So shout out to Joanna. I couldn't do this alone. because I just want to fucking scream. And sometimes it's better to let other people talk. But that's like we
I would just like to say that you're welcome, and I worked with toddlers for years, so it's easy to sit. It's really easy to sit there and just listen when people are. I can really just sit there, I can, and you're
I don't
welcome.
take that as an insult.
No, it's
I
not. It's just I have the patience when I need it.
I
That's
have
all.
the impulse of a toddler sometimes.
Oh, I didn't even mean you, bud.
Oh, I know. I was just I was just like, that analogy doesn't even offend me. That's astute.
Yeah, like toddlers are cool. I'm not saying anything bad about them. It's just they gave me some perspective on.
Patience.
All right. Yeah, they gave me some patience.
Yeah.
If I'm in the mood.
So Joanne and I predicted, we knew Chief Casper, because of our dealings in the past, would get back to us promptly, especially since we knew there's direct action coming where people are calling for her resignation or her firing. I think the police should be abolished. So inherently, I think every cop should be fired. So I don't think that needs to be made any more clear. So Chief
Yeah,
Casper,
people know that about us.
just because I'm being kind of nice, and I'm not specifically calling for your job. I'm calling for all your jobs, so it's implied. And we don't need daddy police. I don't need that in my life, and I don't think a lot of people do. I think we can.
Well, think of Marisol's case. No, none of us need that in our life.
Right.
I don't need to be pulled from my fucking car, beaten, pepper sprayed, and whatever else just because of like my light being out. I don't know. That's not the safety we're all asking for. I'm
And
sorry.
even if it doesn't end in violence, that's the thing. What I was saying earlier about I don't need to see another video. I don't need more snuff porn. I don't need any. I've seen enough. I'm literally like seeing 15, 20 unique stories a day. Not rehashes like on CNN of the same shit. The one thing, the Trayvon Martin, the one thing. This shit is happening everywhere daily in a capitalist hellscape across the world. This isn't just a United States problem. This is a capitalism problem. This is a property over people problem. But that said, the reason I'm offended that this working person got snagged up, and let's just say it is just a quick, hey, your headlight's out. Why do you have to engage with an armed agent of the state over a fucking headlight? What the fuck are we doing? That's fucking.
Yeah, we've just lost the plot. If this is what no people think is normal to keep us safe, I really do. I mean, I know most of our listeners. I would assume you agree with us mostly, so you're not those people. But I don't know how we reach people that would think this is normal or okay.
And even take the racial component out, take all of it out. You're gonna fucking approach a citizen of the United States or whatever. I don't even fucking care about that. But somebody who's literally working and running the goddamn economy.
That's what I mean. They're just doing their job.
It's just insane. And it's over a headlight. If it's so important, fucking let's send robots out with cameras, and they see someone without a headlight, they can send you a fucking reminder. Sending a stamp is a lot cheaper than the possibility of this fucking lawsuit. So for all you fiscal conservatives out there,
that's true.
It's all an excuse to beat brown people. Let's just be fucking
yes.
That's all it is. And that's why I hate the fucking video, because it just turns into a fucking snuff film for even the white liberals, the moderates in the middle.
Well, and it's okay. And it's okay that you hate it, but this woman did consent to it being out there, which is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make that clear. So, like, I hate it too, and I don't want to see these things. But I think in Marisol's case and in other people's cases, like for them, like it might be a good thing that there's a video, so that the awareness is raised.
I get my ass beat on camera by the police. Please, by all means. I'm not like, but I don't
consent. You're consenting now in case.
Yeah, absolutely. Embarrass these fucking pieces.
I'll drag them so hard to hell.
Just embarrass them, because honestly, but my thing is about the people that need to see the video before they make a judgment, dude.
Well, yes, and I was gonna say that. So I was gonna answer you to the other thing you said, which is like there are these issues. Like there's this one Trayvon. You said there's that one. There shouldn't have to be even one. None of us should be okay with handing the state the authority to harm our children, our mothers, our sisters, anyone. No one should be getting harmed by like how is that keeping us safe? Oh, it's not keeping us safe.
So Chief Casper, Chief Pratt, if you're listening to this episode because you know we're talking about you, please, please, please hear us. Quit your job. Just quit. Just quit because you're doing fucking harm. You're doing harm. I'm sorry that's not your intention. I'm sorry you don't mean to. I don't fucking care. End of story. You're causing harm. There's no way around it. And you're going to fucking take the fall for this fucking meathead muscle douchebag that can't stand somebody questioning his authority over a fucking headlight.
I agree, and I agree. And I have to add, for me personally, I just say to any singular cop who thinks they're important enough for me to hate, I mean, baby, I'm not going to sing the whole song, but you're so vain, and I just think your whole institution needs to crumble to the ground, and that I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you really care about helping people, Spence and I fully agree on this. We do not want you to have a job in policing. There are other jobs where you can help people. Please quit your job and leave your job. That's what that one goes out to all my haters, which
And
are usually
sidebar,
police.
there are no good police because
No, you can't
the
be within.
FBI
You
is
can't
not good.
be.
The FBI is no good. The DOJ is no good. They've done nothing but bad things, man. So the FBI actually just killed a right winger yesterday because I've made threats at President Biden. So if anybody didn't hear that, and all these right wingers were all upset. Listen, as people who are excited about Donald Trump getting some consequences, and all these people cheering on the FBI, fuck those guys. Listen, there was no need to kill that guy. You didn't have to go on his property. You could have waited him out. You have endless time as the government, endless resources. You can just sit there. He's going to have to leave at some point and he's going to calm down. I don't understand why you have to get into a firefight with a motherfucker. That's just my quick. So sorry. So like, there's
No,
no
you don't have to be sorry. You're good.
we don't like or that are actively trying to harm us. These like right-wing lunatics that want to make every woman an incubator and kids to be fucking working in meatpacking plants. These fucking sickos. We don't talk about them a lot because it's so fucking antisocial. Like, what are we gonna do with that? That's a small percentage of this country. It's less than 30% of people are like that. Everybody else is kind of in the middle, and we gotta fucking wake y'all up. And one way to start is recognize the police are bastards.
Well, and so my argument is for anyone who finds that difficult to digest. I think, and I can only say that this like there is no good cop, and I can say it in a way that makes it, I guess, easier to digest. Is that like the systems won't allow you to be like if you are someone who is a good quote unquote person within that system, you will quickly have to quit or leave because you will be ridiculed, harmed, and or long term changed into a piece of shit because you're just going along with and overlooking things that are terrible. So I just want to like explain that in a way so that people who may be a little like, oh, well, you guys are so like you hate the police. It's like I don't even fucking know some of these douchebags' names. They don't like it's no personal fucking vendetta for me. Or and you know, Spence has his own favorites or whatever. There are a few. I'm not even gonna name them on this. I'm not gonna name them on this
The ones that I
podcast.
name have done have have been dirty in my presence. Like not like I didn't witness like a cop murder somebody, but I mean like Captain Moriarty pisses me off because he's a fucking liar and he used a kid as a fucking prop and he couldn't even fucking man up and call me back. Not to use that patriarchal term, but like I know that insults these fucking fragile little bitches. So like you couldn't even man up, bro. What the fuck? You don't want to call me?
Right. And
You don't
it's
want to
not
say like, hey,
it's
my bad. No, you fucking you went and hid, and then Chief Pratt won't even show up to a meeting, and then Mayor Garcia is a little bitch too. You're a little bitch. You should resign. Anyways,
I mean they no, you're I mean that's
that's
fine.
only
Like
people I name
honestly,
specifically.
hard to agree on those three, but like the rest of my haters are kind of I guess I'll keep secret. But the thing is it's not even like about the specific people for me personally, and I know Spence feels similarly on like this level too of like the institutions. Like, I'm sorry, and I say this off the record, like off when we're not recording all the time. Like, we're adhering to things that people, even if it was 50 years ago or 100 years ago, decided was a good idea 200 years ago. Like, we can update those things. And I know I say this during the podcast sometimes, but we do not need to be keeping what like men decided on 100 years ago as like fact for now. And the policing system is one of those institutions, along with a number of things that I won't bring up to deter us. But I just think we had to reach out and get more info on this particular story because police brutality in our own backyards is more not more upsetting than police brutality anywhere. It's just we wanna make sure that everyone's aware of what's going on. That's why we're here, and we wanna give you as much information as we can.
We're all
Um,
stakeholders. We're all stakeholders
yeah.
in the community. I can't decide what happens in Ohio, Idaho. I can't decide what happens in Holyoke, but I can say my piece. I can organize in the fashion that works for me. I can whatever, film the police, whatever you want to do, whatever makes sense for you. Whoever's listening, looking for ideas, there's lots of ideas. If you need something, email us, we'll help you out. But the I just want everybody to notice how our style is. We joke that we're uh, Vic Vinegar and Hugh Honey from It's Always Sunny. Good cop, bad cop. We that's why we don't call it good cop, bad cop. We don't even want to take that language. But
Yeah, no
I
way.
just came up with a new analogy, Joanna. So
What?
you were like, I'm gonna soften that, referring to like, yeah, maybe
Some
he's
of your stuff, I soften it a
yeah,
little
no, no,
bit.
no. It's like I'm a bitter savory dessert and you're a nice aperitif.
Hey, my DJ name would be the Honeypot. I've told you this, so
That's a good one. I like that.
yeah,
Uh,
da Honeypot.
so just for everybody listening, like that, this is kind of a shtick, like in a way, like one of us is kind of gets hot because we mostly agree. It's not really fun to listen to
Oh,
people.
when I get hot, I just like it's
Yeah, absolutely, you get hot, but it's more of like it's more like a Coles, like at the after the like the slow that shit's hot as fuck. But you gotta like you can get burned by a flame, right? A flame could pop out at you, but like coals, you have to go out of your way, and if you fall in the coals, you're gonna have some real bad burns. So that's you burn like long coals, and I burn like I don't know, fucking jet engine.
yes, we have our own styles for sure. I don't usually come in hot. That is true, unless it's like an egregious scenario.
No, I got very It's Always Sunny energy. I got news. I got terrible news.
I don't know. I think we both have some like Charlie energy. I can't lie. We have Sunny energy for sure.
Well, at least we're not. Well, we're not big pieces of shit like those selfish pricks. So we don't look.
No, no, no. But that's the best part about the satire of that show. It's great. We definitely like can do the thing they do where you like scream talk at each other though, and you hear everything. I love that. It's our style.
Well, that's kitchen life. That's restaurant kitchen life. Being able to yell over shit and like, but in a way that you're yelling full volume, but somehow it sounds like womp 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 to the customers.
Yeah, and you hear each other
You
somehow, even if you're
know,
talking at the
the
same time. It's
customers just think
crazy.
there's just, there's communication go back, but you're actually being like table 5. What a dick.
Yeah, or you're like, thank God that one's nice. It's really
Oh,
awesome.
or I guess this is always my favorite. Like, I guess that table wrong. Like,
Yeah, that's always good. It's
yeah.
well, can go either way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's such a like when you'd hear a server say that, because like the order would be complicated or whatever, and then it turns out like they were aware that they were complicated the whole time and they compensated appropriately. So it's always good. Those are happy little mistakes. But anyways,
Our comment, our emails back from
so yeah,
Casper
like I
and
said earlier,
Rachel.
Rachel Maiore, and I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that pronunciation, and is a counselor in Northampton, and Chief Casper responded as well, both pretty timely fashion. So we appreciate that. Rachel Maiore is definitely a little more coming off the hip, a little more casual, not casual, but Chief Casper's was notably more of like a boilerplate slash definitely looked over by a lawyer. you know?
Well, and it seems like a
Great.
press
Oh,
release almost, like maybe
right.
like yeah.
So keep that in mind. And also keep in mind, Chief Casper really is somebody that follows she's responsive. She follows up to criticism as much as they have the ability to. Whereas like David Pratt in Holyoke, he's a king. He doesn't feel bothered by the peasants, by the plebes. He works for the fucking landlords. Like that's it. Like he don't fuck about us. So even if we piss him off, he can just be like, I'm not going because I don't want to do something rash. It's like that's a fucked up point of view from a fucking public servant. Anyways, I digress. Rachel Mayore is a very nice person that we've
I
met.
love Rachel. I really enjoy Rachel as a person to just speak to as a city councilor. I think she's a really strong advocate for abolition and for
She seems open.
alternatives to policing. Yes.
I don't need it's just good to have somebody that's like
When we say abolition, we mean alternatives. We don't mean like leave society for like going blowing in the wind. Like everyone listening to this is probably a seasoned abolitionist and knows that. But I want to let people know, like Rachel's one of those people that sees that too. Like she looks beyond and can imagine public safety and a new world, and that's exciting. And there are a couple counselors like that.
absolutely. And the thing is, it's about communicating this to our our neighbors and our family. Yeah, like Joanna said, it's not just abandoning. It's the reason we use abolition is because it's no reform on some of these institutions at all. You can't reform them. They're designed to do what they do. So that's
Yes.
one of them. And so we just need to abolish it. But the reason we say abolish instead of like go to war, because it isn't about if conflict is a requirement or is inevitable, fine. Conflict's inevitable. But the goal is to stop the harm and try something that isn't harmful. So that's why abolition is the word. Like, and it goes back to people standing up against the slave system, and the system just morphed into something different. And again, I'm not saying it's we live in chattel slavery, but a lot of us are deeply in debt and are never going to be on our own 2 feet.
Well, I mean, people who are in prison, I don't want to get off topic, but people who are in prison are not paid, are they're oftentimes actually made to do work for no pay. So there are people in the United States that are actually enslaved still.
So it becomes a socialized thing as opposed to one singular plantation owner, and then everybody can kind of like tiptoe through the fucking tulips about it, like, oh, it's a big system, there's nothing we can do about it. It's the same fucking bullshit. Like, what will we do without prisons? You're just gonna let all these prisoners that we traumatized out? So you admit you fucking traumatized them. Like every argument, it's just like, this is why we need to abolish it. Like even the ones where they say, like, what are you gonna do with all the rapists and murders? Bro, they don't do anything about them now. Unless they're black, brown, or poor.
And honestly, barely then because women don't matter. So, but we are digressing.
Of course. So Rachel is open to a conversation. I wouldn't describe her as an abolitionist. Maybe she does. Maybe she's getting there. But I'll just read her statement because it's pretty short. So she reached back out. She goes, "Thank you for the time to reach out to us and covering the story. Yes, most of us found the video quite disturbing. As the city and community unpack the implication of this particular recording, more broadly, I think we already know that police traffic stops can be full of peril. And sadly, all around the nation, they continue to be predictable touch points for discrimination and abuse of power. Traffic stops by police are inherently confrontational and can set up both the officer and the civilian for stress that is often oversized for the minor issue that instigates them. In this case, a non-functioning headlight. Unfortunately, I don't believe we can quote unquote train our way out of an incident like this occurring again. I'm so glad that we have established a Department of Community Care and are getting our mental health task force unit up and running this fall to take on some of our 911 calls. And we need to revisit all the other recommendations of the Policing Review Commission around decreasing the footprint of policing. What's the city's vision here? How can we ensure our shared values are reflected in the public safety in Northampton? I'm frustrated that the municipal conversation around policing has become so narrow. Northampton is an ideal place to enact alternatives to policing around minor traffic issues, and the time for that conversation is now. Sincerely, Rachel.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Rachel.
So, I could nitpick this. There's a couple things I wish you would just say. I wish, so Rachel.
Well, Spence, I think this is for a city
I think this is
councilor.
amazing.
This
No,
is
no,
amazing.
I could pick nits, and I'm gonna.
I wouldn't.
I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, no. This is great.
This is really good. Yeah.
This sets a tone. So to all your other counselors, if you guys email us and get back to us, we will gladly share it and put it on this episode notes, so anybody listening to this in like a week, 2 time, and maybe more comments from local leaders come in, we will make sure you can get those. So even though we've read Rachel's and we'll read parts of Chief Casper's, we'll post everybody's so you can read it yourselves. So that way it's full of transparency. The only thing I would nitpick is like, no, this is what you need to start off with. This is their function. It's in a racist, authoritarian upholder of apartheid, like full stop. That's what I would like. That's nitpicking though, because for her to say anything this direct about not kicking the can, we need to really, Department of Community Care we have us. Here's something we're working on. Here's something that we have a goal we're going to meet, and hopefully we can use this as a reason to invest more now. So I appreciate that. So thank you, Rachel.
And yeah, I really urge all of our listeners, either in Northampton or in Western Mass, you do not have to be a citizen of Northampton to reach out to Rachel. The time is now. I'm sure Northampton Abolition Now and other groups in the area will jump on and support Rachel if she's going to bring forward something about this. If she's not, the citizen should make sure that she does by sending her emails, attending public comment, etc. If she says most of us found this quite disturbing, the city council, that sticks out to me. I'm really glad most of them did. I'm interested in who didn't find this disturbing too, but we won't know that until we know. Yes, and Spence, you're right. Chief Casper's is longer and much more like a press release.
Yeah, I will. But one final thought on this. Like I said, remind everybody to go to our episode notes, www.theweedout.com. Follow us on social media, all that stuff, because you can always, while you're listening, scrolling on your phone, you can go check all this stuff out as we're talking. I'm grateful that we're never going to take down, say, the FBI or the CIA on its own. We have to show that abolitionist ideas can work. So Northampton takes this step. It makes it easier for me to pitch to my fellow neighbors in Holyoke right down the street. Look, like, we don't need this. Look what they're doing. We can do that. And the reason Joanne and I are confident, so Joanne, sorry if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I think we're both confident on this. Look at the communities that are doing the best, and then look at their fucking police budget. They don't have a police budget compared to anywhere else. So there's a direct correlation to problems in increased police budgets. It's a direct correlation. So if you want to be like a Northampton, you have to think like a Northampton and start investing in a Department of Community Care now, because it's not going to get up and running tomorrow. We have to build these systems around the existing system and make that one obsolete. So I appreciate the full response here, as opposed to saying I'm appalled, thoughts and prayers, yada yada yada. So thank you, Rachel, again, for having not boilerplate politician speak, but I do have nitpicks. Anyways, but I do find it interesting that it's only been 2 women that have responded to us, not one male or the mayor. But the men specifically, especially since I have a relationship with at least one of them. So that's a call out to that person. get your shit together, wake the fuck up, and yeah, so I guess we'll just move on to Chief Casper. I mean, the fact that, again, obviously she's going to be the first one to respond because she's got the most riding on the line here. And that makes sense. And it totally tracks. But also, like, Chief Pratt and Holyoke would not respond like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it really is a Northampton specific thing. And like in my town of Montague, the chief would get back to me, but not all cops would. You're right.
And the poorer or the more destitute the situation, you know, the more likely, like I said, it's the inverse. I mean, the direct correlation of the more money you spend on the police, the less they give a fuck about you. End of story. Because they're getting theirs, and like, you know, just keeping it simple. So we'll get to Chief Casper now, and she wrote back the next morning, like we said. Yeah, I just lost it, so I'm gonna. Okay, so she responded to us. I'll just read the opening statement and then I'll paraphrase the rest because it's a couple paragraphs. Again, we'll post this online. In response to a public records request, we released a dash cam video of an incident that occurred in April 2023. The video is a recording of a motor vehicle stop that occurred in the area of 304 King Street. We are committed to transparency and accountability, and therefore I am providing this statement as an overview of this event and the steps that our agency took to evaluate it. So she details the event in cop speak. You know, nothing really stands out here other than making excuses. So she rehashed the whole incident. Officer John Sello attempted to stop a car that had a headlight out. The female driver traveled approximately 1/4 mile before pulling to the right and stopping. She refused to produce her license and registration and after it was requested multiple times. She then refused to get out of her car after being directed to do so multiple times. Officer Sello then observed her to begin to pull the vehicle's window up to reach for her gear shift. I believe she was going to drive away. Officer Sello physically removed her from the car. She actively resisted being taken out of the car. During the struggle, she disarmed him by removing his baton from his vest. She then refused to put her hands behind her back when her back to be handcuffed. Officer Bartlett then arrived to the scene to assist and sprayed her with OC spray, pepper spray. And she was then handcuffed and arrested. Basically, the only notable thing that sticks out, she goes through all the things that they've done since then. John Sello attended an 8-hour quote unquote verbal judo course. Verbal judo. These cops, like, they're so not original. Like, this is so fucking stupid. Course on June 9th, 2023, and an 8-hour verbal de-escalation surviving verbal conflict on July 11th, 2023. So like they're like, really? They get to go do 16 hours of office time? This story is really unfortunate. I'm grateful that we got some response from local government. It's not completely adequate, you know, this goofy shit, this training stuff. I don't know. Everybody should go read this statement in its whole. It's boring. It's cop talk, but you know, this is how they talk. It's like boilerplate. I don't know, Joanna, do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, the whole thing is horrifying. Like I said, I think everyone should go read the shoestrings coverage at theshoestring.org. And the statements, I thought Rachel's statement was the best y'all are gonna probably get in most cases from a city councilor in this incidents. Like, it sounds like the council could potentially do something good in Northampton. And I don't want anyone else to be harmed the way Marisol or the other individuals named in the article have been harmed. And I think the police owe us more than a boilerplate PR release, like explaining why what they did was okay based on policies. I think we need to remember that although they think no policy violations were sustained in this case, that's nonsense, and they're just like using words to say bullshit to us. There shouldn't be policies that make it okay for a man to ask another man with a gun to come and then mace me in the face because my tail light is out. I would really ask all of our listeners to share this with people they know who maybe don't think about the police and don't have issues with this kind of authority that we face in our society. We are unsafe because of the police. And this is another example, sadly, of why. And we're paying to be unsafe. We're paying for it. So I really like people to remember that.
I'm gonna flip the script. I'm gonna be the sweet to your sour now. So full circle. The good news is, if Northampton makes a change, we can convince the neighboring towns to make a change. This is a long battle, and it is a battle. But the end goal is love and care. And somebody wise once told Joanne and I don't have to like a motherfucker, but I want him to have a house and food and clothes. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to be kumbaya, but you should want other people to be okay. And policing, obviously it's like playing Russian roulette. And if you're marginalized or you don't have the money or both, your odds get worse, and every day you go out, you're rolling the dice, whether it's from a hate crime, from a random fucking person, or this shit with a cop. So, Chief Casper, if you're listening, there's a pattern here, friend. Quit your job. You'll be better off for it. You'll sleep better. And we like we quoted earlier, I don't have to like you, but I do want you to have a house and a place to live. And but not if you're policing people and preventing them from doing that. So reconsider your life choices. Anybody that's listening that's a cop, FBI Jim, or a long time listener, never caller, but so FBI Jim, if you're listening, thanks, buddy. Engagement's engagement. So
Stop wasting our tax dollars.
yeah, man, we just want to fucking feed people.
We're boring as if anyone is listening, it's like you are wasting money. Fuck you.
You're a threat to my income.
They're a threat. They're a threat to my income.
Well, they're a threat to Marisol's income. So everybody think about
exactly.
that. Solidarity. That means give extra tips to these people striking on King Street and Pleasant Street. And if you can, come out to this show out. I don't know if I'll be able to make it. It was a little late notice. But maybe if I can move some stuff around, I will be there Sunday too. But regardless, if you're just driving through, make sure you honk your horn, let people know that they're not alone. And that's the easiest thing we can all do. So as always, thank you for listening to the Weed Out. Go to our website for more information. I already shouted out a bunch of times. You know the drill. So I guess that's it from me. Joanna, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.